Well met, and my Gavanin. My name is Dr. DM, Dungeon Master, Bard, and Professor of Philology here at the University of Faerun. I welcome you all to my office hours, where I will do my utmost to regale you with tales from my D&D table, with the added twist of a DM's perspective. I hope they bring some amusement to you all, and of course, we at the University encourage everyone to magically subscribe and Eldritch Smite that like button. Today, I bring you a tale from the archives of Storm King's Thunder and the aberrant psionic-powered Illithids, or as they are known colloquially, Mind Flayers. Eldritch blessings to you if you can chant the Call of Cthulhu 3 times fast. Those are definitely words. We set the stage today on the infamous Sword Coast, home of stories from Baldur's Gate to Neverwinter Nights, and more recently where giants of all kinds, fire, frost, cloud, stone, and hill, have run rampant and are quickly destroying its cities, trade, and people. Meet my players, a mostly heroic band of orphans who are fighting to end this chaos, but also are in it for a whole heaping ton of gold. Their quest points them towards Waterdeep, the City of Splendors, where they hope to find a rich ex-adventurer by the name of Zelruan Roaringhorn, who will give them more information about the giant attacks. Thus, they take to their handy teleportation circle, which lands them not in the middle of the bustling city itself, but rather within its ominous walled cemetery, known as the City of the Dead. Well, for obvious reasons, we'll see. As the city guard and mages have been distracted by a cohort of unruly cloud giants at their doorstep, the City of the Dead is grasped by a strange, obscure mist, and the undead have managed to claw their way to the surface. They teleport in to a dimly lit room surrounded by sarcophagi and scattered bones of the interred. Pushing aside fear and cobwebs, they breach to the surface into the City of the Dead proper, finding row after row of tombstones surrounding them, like a sea of death. The atmosphere is dark, and the magically oppressive mist surrounds them, as they hear whispers of the unliving, and strange figures seem to melt in and out of their vision ahead. Our cleric of Akkadi has to down a potion of heroism to keep her from fainting, or so it would seem. Thankfully, our Kensai monk is a survivalist, well-traveled and shrewd, visualizing a way out. And they all make their way, weapons unsheathed, spells at the ready, in circular formation, eyes peeled in every direction. Well, every direction but down apparently, as they fail some perception rolls when passing through an open field of unmarked stones, and a rotten hand bursts forth from the ground and grabs the cleric's leg. She shrieks while being pulled to the ground, and as the rest of the party helps her, the nearby soil begins to break apart in a frenzy of undead. Skeletons, zombies, ghouls begin to moan and lumber towards them. They spring to battle, quickly grabbing the high ground, unleashing a flurry of area effect fire spells, and radiant divine smites are used by our paladin of Tempest, shattering those who make it to the front lines. Despite this, they are almost overwhelmed until the cleric grasps her holy symbol, shouts a prayer, and Destroy Undead quelches a large swath of the undead assailants, ultimately handing them victory. Though a few of the party members are bitten and injured, they do succeed rather triumphantly, but little do they know that this was only a small bump in the road ahead. They pick up the pace, eager to be bereft of this place, and soon spy the exit of the graveyard ahead of them. But the closer they get, the thicker the mist becomes around them. When, from the mist itself, they begin to make out something awful, as 4 tentacles snake out as if from another realm, flexing in hungry anticipation. Then an otherworldly mauve-colored octopus-like head, and finally the body of a powerful mind flayer, revealing itself to its prey. This was one very healthy mind flayer from a brain-rich diet, left unchecked as it excretes a copious amount of slimy mucus substance all over its skin. To its left and right, two bursts of flames erupt, and hellhounds appeared under the effect of Dominate Monster, mouths agape with hellfire as they wail a death cry towards the party. Once again, the players take to arms, still high from their previous victory. Oh, but it was too late for hubris, as the DM had already smiled. Our paladin and bear barbarian charge forward, feeling assured that they can surely hold the front line. But you'll note that the bear totem resistance does not work against psychic damage. Wink wink, would-be DMs. They trade some blows, but are damaged heavily by psionic attacks that curdle them from the inside. Our draconic sorcerer and cleric begin their incantations to cast spells in response, but oh, what's this? The hyper-intelligent Illithid had been watching them this entire time and trapped them within a field of anti-magic, rendering their spells completely useless. Thought the Illithid, not the DM, I'm sure. As they were distracted by this revelation, the Mind Flayer unleashes its ultimate attack, an ultra-powerful psionic mind blast that surges forward and decimates the party's hit points. Well, except the crafty rogue who leaped into a bush at the last second. In a ferocious struggle for survival, they slowly chip away at the Mind Flayer, eventually wounding it grievously, but also succumb to its power as one by one they begin to fall. The paladin goes down in a blaze of smite glory. The cleric, using limited tools at her disposal to attempt to heal the party, and the monk, expending the last of his key energy to thwack it with arrows. Now, the barbarian stands on his last breath, head grasped by the eager tentacles of the bloodied Illithid. The rogue is knocked prone, surrounded by hellhounds, about to eat her alive. And there stands the powerless sorcerer, having done 0 damage the entire encounter. And guess what? It's his turn to go. Spurred on by either sheer brilliancy or idiocy, he digs into his sash to pull out a dagger. Just a normal dagger. A little ornate, but normal. One that he has never used in combat, ever up until this moment. With a shrug of the shoulders, he hurls it at the Illithid. Rolls to hit. It's not a crit, but it's enough to make contact. Rolls that D4 damage. And by the gods, it's exactly enough to finish off its remaining hit point pool. The dagger impacts directly into the skull of the Illithid, piercing its mind and causing it to be instantly sucked away into the netherworld, or perhaps the nearby nautiloid, as well as its hellhounds. As the party licks its wounds and curses both their luck and the creature, they make haste to finally exit the city of the dead, and into Waterdeep itself. They make their way then to the nearest tavern and inn, the Yawning Portal, wherein the sorcerer immediately proclaims himself to all within earshot as the legendary Mind Flayer Slayer, to the ironic dismay and chagrin of the party, but who ultimately let it become a humorous group meme to this day. So, my dear listeners, today we have learned to always bring a knife to a psionics fight, and should you ever encounter a Mind Flayer, do try to not be useless until the last possible moment. Once again, we've come to the end, and I hope you've enjoyed this little tale. If you'd like to hear more, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you, and that concludes my office hours. Until next time.